The council chamber was huge. A1 had seen many impressive buildings in her life, but this was different. The walls seemed to go up forever, made of some kind of crystal that changed colors when the light hit it. Hundreds of aliens sat in curved rows, all facing the center where she stood. She kept her face calm. That was the first rule of diplomacy. Never let them see you nervous. Beside her stood Taman, just 12 years old, wearing a simple black suit that made him look even smaller. The boy didn't seem scared at all. His eyes moved slowly across the chamber, studying each alien like he was reading a book. A creature that looked like it was made of purple glass leaned forward. A1 knew this was Counselor HFY, one of the oldest beings in the galaxy. His voice came out like wind chimes. "You bring a child to these proceedings?" HFY's tendrils flickered with what the translation device called irritation. "This is unprecedented. We are discussing matters of galactic importance." A1 smiled politely. He wanted to come. The chamber filled with noise. Aliens of every shape and size began talking at once. Some had voices like thunder. Others made clicking sounds or musical tones. The translation device in A1's ear worked hard to keep up. "Wanted? A juvenile's wants are irrelevant to state matters." One alien shouted, "Is this a human custom? To involve offspring in adult affairs?" Another asked. A1 waited. She had learned that silence was often more powerful than words. Eventually, the noise died down. They were waiting for her explanation. "On Earth," she said slowly, "we believe that the young should see the world as it is. Taman is here to observe and learn. Nothing more." HFY's tendrils dimmed. He clearly didn't like this answer, but he moved on. "Very well. Let us proceed to the matter at hand. Humanity has been contacted by the Galactic Council. As per standard integration protocols, you must now submit to our guidelines." "Guidelines?" A1 asked, though she knew exactly what he meant. Another alien stood. This one looked like a floating jellyfish covered in eyes. It spoke in soft tones. "All new species must integrate into the galactic community. This means population monitoring, resource quotas, technology sharing, cultural education. These are not suggestions. They are requirements for peace." A1 let a moment pass. Then another. She could feel the aliens getting uncomfortable with her silence. "Good. We respectfully decline," she said. The chamber exploded. Aliens jumped to their feet. Some made threatening gestures. Others began arguing with each other. The noise was deafening. But A1 stood still, her hands clasped in front of her, her face showing nothing. Dakshmin didn't move either. He just watched everything with those dark, careful eyes. A massive creature that looked like a bear made of rocks slammed its appendage on the desk. "You cannot decline. This is not negotiable. Every species that joins the galactic community must follow integration protocols." "We didn't ask to join the galactic community," A1 said, simply. "You contacted us. We came here out of courtesy to hear what you had to say. We've heard it, and we're saying no thank you." HFY's whole body shimmered with color. The translation device said he was experiencing multiple emotions at once, mostly anger and confusion. "You don't understand what you're refusing. The Council provides protection, trade, technology, knowledge. Without us, you are vulnerable, alone." A1 tilted her head slightly. "We've been alone for a very long time. We're quite good at it." A new alien stood up. This one was tall and thin, with skin that looked like silver metal. Its voice was cold and precise. "Your species is young, primitive in many ways. You have barely left your own solar system. You have no understanding of the dangers that exist in the galaxy. The council exists to guide and protect developing civilizations. From what? Taemin asked. Every eye in the chamber turned to the boy. It was the first time he had spoken. His voice was calm and clear, not scared at all. The silver alien blinked slowly. From threats you cannot imagine, child. Like what? Taemin pressed. Can you give examples? The alien seemed confused by the question. There are hostile species, pirates, resources wars, existential dangers. Taemin nodded slowly, like he was thinking about this. And the council protects everyone from these things? Yes, the alien said firmly. For free? The boy asked. Silence. The alien didn't answer right away. Finally, it said, protection requires cooperation. Species must contribute to the greater good. So not free, Taemin said. It wasn't a question. HFY watched the council members shift in their seats. The boy had touched something they didn't want to talk about. The council's protection came with a price. They controlled technology. They controlled trade. They controlled everything. The HFY tried to regain control of the discussion. This is not a debate. Integration is standard procedure. You will comply, or you will face consequences. What consequences? HFY asked. Economic isolation, the HFY said. Trade restrictions. No access to council technologies or knowledge. You will be alone. HFY smiled. It was a small smile, professional and polite. We came here alone. We can leave alone. The floating jellyfish alien spoke up, its voice urgent. You don't understand what you're giving up. The council has access to technologies beyond your imagination. Medical advances. Energy solutions. Faster-than-light travel improvements. All of this can be yours. In exchange for our freedom, HFY said. In exchange for cooperation. The alien insisted. Those sound like the same thing, Taemin said quietly. The boy was right, and everyone in the chamber knew it. The council offered advancement, but they also demanded control. Species that joined became dependent. They followed council rules. They needed council approval for everything. Humans would have to ask permission to explore new systems, permission to develop new technologies, permission to make decisions about their own future. HFY had studied the council's history. She knew what integration really meant. It meant giving up the one thing humans had fought for throughout their entire existence, the right to choose their own path. The HFY's tendrils were now glowing bright red. You are making a grave mistake. The galaxy is not kind to those who stand alone. Then we'll learn that lesson ourselves, HFY said. Like we've learned every other lesson in our history. She gestured to Taemin. Together, they turned to leave. But before they reached the door, the boy stopped. He looked back at the council chamber, at all those alien faces staring at him with confusion and anger. The kid tilted his head, smiling not wide, not nervous. Just enough. Then he followed HFY out of the chamber, leaving behind a room full of aliens who suddenly weren't sure what they were dealing with. They had expected fear. They had expected gratitude. They had expected compliance. They got none of those things. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the Galactic Council didn't know what to do next. 3 months had passed since the council meeting. On Earth, most people had already forgotten about it. They had jobs to do, lives to live. The news talked about it for a week, then moved on to other stories. But in the colonies, people paid attention. They knew what was coming. Jinwoo Park stood on the bridge of his ship, the determination, watching stars streak past the viewscreen. His crew was busy mapping a cluster of solar systems that the council had marked as not worth exploring. That should have been his first clue that the area was actually very interesting. Captain, we're picking up another ship, his navigator said. Her name was Soo-Jin, and she had been with him for 5 years. It's Vrex. Jinwoo nodded. Expected. Put them on screen. A Vrex appeared on the view screen. The species looked like giant beetles, with hard shells and multiple eyes. This one wore what passed for a uniform in their culture-colored bands around its legs. Human vessel, the Vrex said, its voice translated into Korean by the computer. You are in violation of Council guidelines. This sector has been marked for preservation. Preservation from what? Jinwoo asked politely. The Vrex's antennae twitched. That is not your concern. You must cease your activities and leave this sector immediately. Jinwoo pulled up a star chart. According to my records, this sector isn't owned by anyone. It's unclaimed space. We're just taking some readings. The Council has authority over all unclaimed space, the Vrex insisted. Really? Jinwoo said. Can you show me where that's written? The Vrex went silent. Jinwoo knew why. It wasn't written anywhere. The Council just assumed they had authority everywhere. No one had ever challenged them before. I will file a formal complaint with the Council, the Vrex said. Finally, Jin-Woo smiled. It was the same smile Taemin had worn in the Council chamber. Not big, not small. Just enough. You do that? We'll be here for another week, finishing our survey. Have a good day. He cut the connection before the Vrex could respond. Soo-jin looked at him with raised eyebrows. They're going to be angry. Let them be angry, Jinwoo said. By the time the Council processes that complaint, files it, reviews it, and sends us an official order to stop, we'll have mapped this entire cluster. And then what? She asked. Then we'll move to the next cluster, Jinwoo said. And the next one. And the one after that. They can file all the complaints they want. We're not breaking any actual laws. We're just not asking permission anymore. Soo-jin grinned. The captain of the Discovery tried the same thing last week. The Council threatened trade restrictions. I heard, Jinwoo said. She thanked them for the warning and kept working. This was happening all over human space. Ships were exploring. Colonies were expanding. Scientists were researching. And every time the Council tried to stop them, humans just smiled politely and continued. It was driving the Council crazy. Back on Earth, Professor Haijin Choi was teaching a class on alien psychology. Her classroom was packed with students who wanted to understand the species humanity had just met. The key to understanding the Council, she explained. Writing on the board is understanding what they expect. They expect new species to be afraid. They expect gratitude for their protection. They expect compliance. A student raised his hand. Why? Why do they expect that? Haijin smiled. Because that's what every other species gave them. For thousands of years, the Council has been the most powerful force in the galaxy. When they found a new species, that species was usually struggling. The Council would offer help, and the species would accept. Over time, that help became control. But we're not struggling, another student said. Exactly, Haijin said. We don't need their help. We've been taking care of ourselves for a very long time. We survived ice ages without technology. We survived plagues. We survived wars that nearly destroyed us. We learned how to adapt, how to endure. She pulled up a video on the screen. It showed Haewon and Taemin walking out of the Council chamber. Watch this moment carefully. What do you see? The students watched. They saw the ambassador and the boy leaving. They saw Taemin pause and look back. They saw that smile. He's not scared, one student said. He's not impressed either, another added. Exactly, Haijin said. He's just himself, calm, observant, patient. And that terrifies them more than any weapon we could have shown up with. One student looked confused. Why would that scare them? Haijin turned off the video. Because it means we're unpredictable. The council has protocols for everything. They know how to handle fear. They know how to handle gratitude. They know how to handle anger. But patience? Calm refusal? That's new to them. She walked to the window, looking out at the city below. They're waiting for us to crack, to realize we need them, to come back and ask for help. But what if we never do? What if we just keep living our lives, exploring, building, growing, without ever asking their permission? That would mean they're not necessary, a student said quietly. Yes, Hyjin said. And that's a very dangerous thing for them to realize. On a space station near Mars, Commander Daewon Yoon was meeting with representatives from 3 different alien species. None of them were part of the council. They were young civilizations, still finding their way in the galaxy. We heard that humans refused integration, one of them said. It was a small creature with blue fur and large eyes. Is that true? Daewon nodded. It's true. But how? Another alien asked. This one looked like a living plant. The council controls everything. Trade, technology, protection. Without them, how do you survive? We make our own way, Daewon said simply. We build what we need. We trade with whoever wants to trade with us. We protect ourselves. The blue-furred alien leaned forward. Could we do that too? Daewon smiled. It was the same smile that was becoming famous across the galaxy. Why not? You're a free species, aren't you? The council says we need their guidance, the plant-like alien said. They say we're too young to make our own decisions. How old is your civilization? Daewon asked. 3,000 years, the alien said. And you still need guidance? Daewon raised an eyebrow. My species is younger than yours. We're doing fine. The 3 aliens looked at each other. Something was changing in their expressions. It was like watching someone wake up from a long sleep. The council has been managing our resources for us, the blue-furred alien said slowly. They say it's for our own good. Maybe it is, Daewon said. Or maybe it's for their good. Either way, it's your choice to make, not mine. You would help us? The plant-like alien asked. Even though we're not human? Why wouldn't I? Daewon said. You're our neighbors. That's what neighbors do. They help each other. The meeting lasted another hour. When the 3 aliens left, they had a lot to think about. So did Daewon. He sent a report back to Earth, letting them know that the cracks in the council's control were starting to show. Other species were watching what humans did. They were asking questions. They were wondering why they needed the council's permission for everything they did. The council had built their power on being the only option. But now there was another option. Humanity was showing that species could stand on their own, could make their own choices, could survive without the council's protection. And that scared the council more than any army ever could. In his quarters on the determination, Jinwoo finished his report and sent it to headquarters. They had found 14 habitable planets in the unclaimed sector. The council would be furious. But by the time they filed all their complaints and wrote all their angry letters, humans would have already set up observation posts on half of those planets. The council moved slowly. They had rules and procedures for everything. Humans moved fast. They made decisions and acted on them. It was a race the council didn't even know. They were losing. Jinwoo looked out at the stars and smiled. Not wide, not nervous. Just enough. Council of HFY called an emergency session. The chamber filled quickly with representatives from every major species in the council. The mood was tense. This cannot continue, HFY announced, his crystalline body flashing angry colors. Humanity has been ignoring our guidelines for 6 months now. They explore where they want. They build where they want. They trade with whoever they want. This is unacceptable. The massive rock bear creature slammed its appendage down. Other species are watching. If humans can refuse integration, others will follow. Our entire system will collapse. The floating jellyfish alien spoke softly, but everyone listened. I have reports from 17 different species asking questions. Young civilizations that we've been guiding for centuries. They're asking why they need our permission for things. Why they can't just do what humans do. Then, we must make an example, said the silver alien with the metallic skin. Humanity must learn that defiance has consequences. The HFY's tendrils brightened. Agreed. I propose immediate trade restrictions. Complete economic isolation. They want to be alone? Let's see how they survive truly alone. The vote was quick. Almost everyone agreed. Only a few smaller species abstained, and no one voted against it. The council had made its decision. Humanity would be cut off. Ambassador HFY received a notification while drinking tea in her office. Her assistant, a young woman named Sora, brought her the official document. It was long and full of formal language, but the message was simple. No council species could trade with humans anymore. Sora looked worried. Ambassador, this could hurt us badly. We get medical supplies from the TRO, advanced computers from the Nexus, energy cores from... I know what we get. HFY said calmly, setting down her cup. And I know we'll be fine. How can you be sure? HFY smiled. Because we've always been good at figuring things out. Read history, Sora. Humans have been solving impossible problems since we learned to make fire. Should we respond to the council? Sora asked. HFY thought about it. Eventually. Let them wait a while. It's good for them. 2 weeks passed. The council expected panic from Earth. They expected desperate messages begging to negotiate. They expected humanity to realize they had made a terrible mistake. Instead, they got a short message. Acknowledged. We respect the council's decision and will adapt accordingly. That was it. No anger. No fear. Just acceptance. The HFY read the message 3 times, trying to find hidden meaning. There had to be more. Species didn't just accept isolation like this. They fought. They bargained. They broke. Humans did none of these things. On Earth, things changed quickly. The government held emergency meetings. Scientists worked overtime. Engineers designed new solutions. But there was no panic. No chaos. Professor HFY stood in front of her class again. The council has cut us off from their trade networks. What does this mean for us? A student answered, we'll have to make everything ourselves. Correct, HFY said. And can we do that? The students looked uncertain. Another student said, some things will be hard. We've been getting medical technology from the TRO. Their healing devices are better than ours. True, HFY agreed. Their devices are better right now. But why are they better? Because they've had more time to develop them. They've been working on that technology for thousands of years. We've only known about it for a few months. But now we know it's possible. We've seen it work. That's half the battle. She pulled up images of human history. Look at what we've done. When the printing press was invented, knowledge spread everywhere. When electricity was discovered, we lit up the world. When we invented computers, we changed everything about how we live. We're good at this. We're good at taking an idea and making it real. But that takes time, a student said. Yes, HFY nodded. So we'll take time. What else are we going to do? Give up? Beg the council to take us back? That's not who we are. Out in the colonies, Commander Day One was busier than ever. The 3 alien species he had met with came back, and they brought friends. Now there were 7 different non-council species asking for human help. We want to build our own ships, the blue-furred alien said. Can you teach us? We want to develop our own medicine, the plant-like alien added. The council controls all our healthcare. We want to control it ourselves. Daiwan looked at them carefully. This will make the council angry with you. Are you ready for that? The aliens looked at each other. Finally, the blue-furred one spoke. We've been watching you. The council tried to punish you with isolation. But you're not suffering. You're thriving. You're doing better now than before. It was true. Without council regulations slowing them down, human innovation had exploded. New technologies were being developed every week. Colonies were sharing resources and ideas freely. The economy was actually growing. We want what you have, another alien said. This one looked like a walking tree. Freedom. The right to make our own mistakes. The right to succeed on our own terms. They one smiled. Then we'll help. But understand this, we can't do it for you. We can show you how, but you have to do the work. We're ready, they all said together. Day one sent another report to Earth. The Council's isolation wasn't hurting humanity. It was actually making them more popular with other species. The Council had accidentally created what they feared most, an alternative. On the determination, Captain Jinwoo was making another discovery. His crew had found something amazing in the unclaimed sectors, a planet rich in rare minerals that the Council said didn't exist in this region. They lied, Sujin said, looking at the scan results. The Council has known about this planet all along. They marked this whole sector as worthless to keep everyone away. Jinwoo studied the data. The minerals on this planet could power ships for decades. They could be used in medicine, in construction, in 1,000 different ways. Send the coordinates to all human colonies, Jinwoo ordered. And send them to our non-council friends too. This discovery belongs to everyone who wants to use it. The council will be furious, Sujin warned. Good, Jinwoo said. Let them be furious. They can file a complaint about us sharing resources. They can have a meeting about it. They can write a strongly worded letter. Meanwhile, we'll actually be doing something useful. He was right. By the time the council found out about the discovery, human ships had already started mining operations. 3 non-council species had joined them, working together to extract and share the resources. The council held another emergency session. The HFY was almost glowing with rage. They're supposed to be isolated, suffering, coming back to us. Instead, they're building their own trade network. And they're sharing our secrets, the silver alien added. Technologies we've kept controlled for centuries. They're giving them away for free. Not giving, the jellyfish alien corrected. Teaching. They're teaching other species how to develop these technologies themselves. It's worse than giving. It's multiplying. The rock bear creature looked worried. We need to increase pressure. Maybe military pressure. The chamber went silent. Military action was serious. The council had rules about violence. They preferred to control through economics and politics. We can't, the jellyfish alien said. Our own laws forbid unprovoked military action. Humanity hasn't attacked anyone. They're just existing, expanding, growing. We have no legal basis for military response. Then what do we do? The HFY demanded that no one had an answer. Meanwhile, on a small space station between Earth and Mars, Taemin was studying. He was older now, almost 13. He spent his days learning languages, mathematics, and alien cultures. He spent his evenings watching reports from across the galaxy. His teacher, an elderly man named Kyung-ho, sat with him during his evening study session. The council is getting desperate, Kyung-ho observed. Their isolation isn't working. Taemin nodded, not looking up from his tablet. It was never going to work. They don't understand us. Explain, Kyung-ho said. The boy set down his tablet. They think being alone is a punishment. For them, maybe it is. They've built everything around being together, being part of the council. But humans? We've always known how to be alone. We spent thousands of years separated into different tribes, different countries, different cultures. We learned how to survive without help. We learned how to build from nothing. So isolation doesn't scare us, Kyung-ho said. No, Taemin agreed. It just reminds us of what we're good at. Problem solving, adapting, building new things when the old ways don't work anymore. Kyung-ho smiled. The boy was wise beyond his years. The council is learning a hard lesson. Taemin picked up his tablet again. They haven't learned it yet, but they will. The kid tilted his head, smiling, not wide, not nervous. Just enough. 6 months after the trade restrictions began, Taemin walked into the council chamber again. He was taller now, but still clearly young. The same aliens sat in the same seats, but something felt different. They looked tired. Haewon walked beside him, calm as always. Behind them came Dr. Nari Song, a scientist who studied how different species thought and behaved. She carried no weapons, no threatening technology. Just a tablet with information. Counselor HFY's tendrils were dim, showing exhaustion. You requested this meeting. We granted it out of curiosity. What do you want, Ambassador? Haewon gestured to Taemin. He wants to speak. The chamber stirred. The boy who'd said almost nothing last time now wanted to address the entire council. The HFY's tendrils flickered. Very well. Speak, human child. Taemin walked to the center of the chamber. He looked small there, surrounded by creatures twice or 3 times his size. But he didn't look scared. He looked thoughtful. You asked what we want, Taemin said, his voice clear in the vast space. The answer is simple. We don't want anything from you. We never did. The rock bear creature growled. Impossible. Every species wants something. Protection, technology, guidance, power. You're wrong, Taemin said simply. We wanted to meet you. We wanted to talk to you. We wanted to see what the galaxy was like. But we never needed you. Arrogant child, the silver alien hissed. You know nothing of the galaxy. Nothing of the dangers that lurk in the dark. You are infants playing with fire. Maybe, Taemin said. But we're infants who survived ice ages. Who survived diseases that killed millions. Who survived wars that nearly destroyed our whole planet. We're infants who learned to survive by ourselves. Dr. Nari stepped forward. May I explain what my colleague means? HFY gestured with his tendrils. The mission granted. Nari pulled up images on the chamber's main screen. They showed Earth through different time periods. Frozen wastelands, burning cities, plague victims, war zones. This is what humans are, Nari said. We're survivors. Not because we're strong, not because we're smart, but because we're adaptable. When the world freezes, we make fire. When disease spreads, we develop medicine. When we fight each other, we eventually learn to make peace. All species adapt, the jellyfish alien said softly. Do they? Nari asked. Look at your council. How often have you changed in the last 1,000 years? How often have you adapted to new ideas? Silence. You haven't, Nari continued. You found a system that worked. Integration, control, guidance. And you've used that same system for centuries. It worked so well that you stopped questioning it. Stopped evolving. Our system brings peace, HFY said, but his voice lacked confidence. Your system brings compliance, Taemin corrected. That's not the same thing. Nari showed more images. These showed human colonies working with non-council species. Ships being built together. resources being shared, technologies being developed. You tried to isolate us, Nari said. You thought cutting us off would break us. But you forgot something important. Humans are good at being alone. We've spent most of our history isolated from each other. Different continents, different islands, different cultures. We learned to build without help. And when you did connect, a new voice said, what happened? Everyone turned. It was a Mindari, one of the telepathic species. She had been silent until now, her sensory organs pulsing with light. I have been listening to your thoughts. All of you, the humans and the council members. And I have discovered something disturbing. What? Dexvas thought the Mindari's organs flashed brighter. Humans have no psychic signature of dominance or submission. None. When a Vrex thinks, I can sense their position in their hierarchy. When a Trell thinks, I can feel their loyalty to the council. Every species in this chamber has these signatures. They're how you organize yourselves, how you understand who leads and who follows. She pointed at Taemin and Nari. But humans? Nothing. Their minds don't work that way. They don't think in terms of who's above and who's below. They think in terms of equals working together. That's absurd, the rock bear said. Someone must lead. Someone does, Nari agreed. But leadership for us isn't about being above others. It's about coordinating efforts, making decisions, then stepping back when someone else is better suited to lead. It changes based on the situation. The Mindari's organs pulsed rapidly. This is why you frighten us. We can't control you through normal means. Dominance doesn't work because you don't recognize it. Submission doesn't work because you don't accept it. You simply cooperate or don't cooperate, based on whether it makes sense to you. Taemin nodded. That's why your isolation didn't work. You thought we needed to be part of your hierarchy. But we don't have hierarchies the way you do. We have partnerships, agreements, cooperation between equals. Chaos, the silver alien whispered. That's chaos. It looks like chaos to you, Nari said. To us, it's freedom. And it works. Look at what we've accomplished in 6 months. We've built our own trade network, developed new technologies, helped 7 species become independent, all without your council's permission. Dexva's tendrils flashed through several colors: anger, fear, confusion. You're trying to destroy the council. No, Taemin said firmly. We don't care enough about the council to try to destroy it. We're just living our lives, building our future. If the council wants to be part of that, great. If not, that's fine too. But you're taking species away from us. The rock bear shouted. The younger civilizations look to you now instead of us. Because we offer them something you don't, Nari said. A choice. We teach them how to stand on their own. You teach them how to obey. Which would you choose? The chamber erupted in arguments. Aliens shouted at each other in dozens of languages. The translation system struggled to keep up. But Taemin just stood there, waiting. Finally, the Mindari raised her appendages, calling for silence. I must speak truth. The council is facing something it has never faced before. Not a military threat, not a political rival, but a philosophical one. Humans don't need the council, and they're showing other species that they don't need the council either. So what do? Asked a small alien from the back. This one had been silent until now. Do we fight them? Do we negotiate? Do we accept that we're no longer needed? A1 stepped forward. Or you could try a 4th option. Change, adapt, become something new. Not a council that rules, but a council that cooperates. Not a council that controls, but a council that partners. You want us to give up our authority, Dexva said. I want you to trade authority for respect, A1 replied. Authority can be challenged. It can't be fought, It can be overthrown. But respect? Respect is earned. And it lasts. The jellyfish alien spoke quietly. She's right. We've been using authority for so long that we forgot about respect. Species follow us because they have to, not because they want to. And the moment they have another option, Nari added, they'll take it. Not because they hate you, but because freedom is more attractive than security that comes with chains. Taemin looked around the chamber. We came here 6 months ago, and you gave us a choice. Join your system or be alone. We chose to be alone. Now we're giving you a choice. Join our system of cooperation or stay alone in your system of control. Either way, we'll be fine. And if we choose control? Dexva asked. The boy smiled. It was that same smile. Not wide, not nervous. Just enough. Then we'll keep doing what we're doing. Building, growing, teaching others. Eventually, you'll have a council with no one to lead. Just ancient species sitting in an empty chamber, telling each other how things used to be. He turned to leave, but paused. Just like he had 6 months ago. Just like everyone remembered. The kid tilted his head, smiling, not wide, not nervous. Just enough. Then he walked out, with Haewon and Nari following. Behind them, the council sat in stunned silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, they understood. They weren't dealing with a species they could control. They were dealing with a species that didn't need controlling. And that changed everything. The council met in private chambers for 3 days. No one knew exactly what was said behind those closed doors. But when they emerged, something had changed. Counselor Dexva looked older somehow. His crystalline body dimmer than usual. He sent a message to Earth. A simple request. Let us talk. Ambassador Haewon read the message in her office. Sora stood nearby, watching her face carefully. They want to negotiate, Sora said. Yes, Haewon replied. Will we accept? Haewon set down the tablet. Of course. We never wanted to be enemies. We just wanted to be free. The negotiations took weeks. The council chamber became a place of actual discussion for the first time in centuries. Not lectures. Not orders. Real conversation. Humans presented their terms clearly. Equal voting rights. No integration protocols. Free trade without restrictions. The right to explore anywhere not already claimed. The right to help any species that asked for help. The council wanted guarantees. Promises that humans wouldn't undermine their authority. Assurances that Earth wouldn't try to replace the council. Tae-min, now 13 and sitting as an official observer, spoke up during one heated discussion. You're still thinking about this wrong. We're not trying to replace you. We're offering to work with you. But only as equals. How can we be equals? The rock bear creature asked. We have thousands of years of experience. Technologies you haven't dreamed of. Knowledge that spans the galaxy. And we have things you don't, Taemin replied. Fresh perspectives. Willingness to try new approaches. The ability to see problems you've stopped noticing because they're so normal to you. Dr. Nari pulled up data on the screen. Look at what we've accomplished in 8 months. Working with non-council species, we've developed 3 new propulsion designs. Created medical treatments that combine human and alien knowledge. Built ships that are faster and more efficient than anything the council has. Because you ignored our regulations, the silver alien said. Because we tried things you wouldn't allow. Nari corrected. Your regulations kept everyone safe. But they also kept everyone from experimenting. From failing. From learning. Innovation requires the freedom to fail. The jellyfish alien spoke thoughtfully. We have become stagnant. I see that now. We've been so focused on maintaining order that we stopped growing. It's not too late to change, Haewon said. But you have to actually change. Not just say you will. Not just make minor adjustments. Real change. The negotiations continued. Slowly, carefully, a new agreement took shape. It wasn't what the council wanted. It wasn't complete surrender from humanity. It was something neither side had expected, a genuine partnership. 5 years later, Captain Jin Woo stood on the bridge of the Determination, now upgraded with both human and alien technology. His crew included 2 Vreks, 3 humans, and a young Trell named Bix, who had left the council's service to join human exploration. "Captain, we're approaching the designated coordinates," Sujin reported. She was first officer now, with her own command waiting after this mission. Jinwoo looked at the viewscreen. They were meeting a council research vessel to jointly explore a newly discovered nebula. Joint missions had become common over the past few years. Humans and council species working together, sharing discoveries. "Signal them that we're ready to begin," Jinwoo ordered. Bix, working at the science station, spoke up. "It's strange. 5 years ago, the council would never have shared this kind of mission with humans. They would have claimed it for themselves." "Things change," Sujin said. "Yes," Bix agreed. "You changed them. Changed all of us." Jinwoo smiled. That smile. "We just showed you that there was another way. You chose to try it." On Earth, Professor Hai-Jin was giving a lecture to a mixed class of humans and aliens. Education exchange programs had become one of the most popular parts of the new partnership. Young beings from across the galaxy came to study at Earth's universities. "The question I get most often," Hai-Jin said, "is why did humans succeed where others failed? Why were we able to stand up to the council when no one else could?" A Vrek student raised its appendage. "Because you were brave?" "Partially," Hai-Jin said. "But lots of species are brave. I think the real answer is simpler. We had nothing to lose." A human student looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Other species had council protection," Hai-Jin explained. "They had council technology, council trade, council guidance. If they defied the council, they would lose all of that. But humans? We had none of those things. The council had nothing we needed, so they had no leverage over us. So we couldn't be threatened," the Vrek student said, understanding. "Exactly," Hai-Jin confirmed. "And once we showed that defiance was possible, once other species saw that you could survive, even thrive, without complete obedience to the council, everything changed." An alien that looked like a walking crystal raised its appendage. "My homeworld is still part of the old system. They still ask council permission for everything. I want to help them become independent, but I don't know how." "Start small," Hai-Jin advised. "Share what you've learned here. Show them what's possible. Change doesn't happen overnight. It took us thousands of years to learn how to cooperate with each other. The galaxy will take time too." Commander Day 1, now Admiral Day 1, oversaw the expanded human-alien cooperation programs. His station had grown into a small city in space, housing over 50 different species. The blue-furred aliens who had first asked for help were now teaching others what they had learned. "Admiral, we have a request from a new species," his assistant reported. "The Krell. They've been council members for 600 years. They want to know if we can help them develop independent energy systems." Then one reviewed the request. "The Krell? They're one of the council's strongest supporters." "They were," the assistant corrected. "Apparently, their younger generation is asking questions. They want options." "Approve it," Day 1 said. "Send them our standard information package and assign a liaison team." This happened weekly now. Species that had been council members for centuries were quietly seeking alternatives. Not rebellion, just options. The freedom to choose their own path, the council still existed. They still provided services. They still had authority. But it was different now. Species followed them by choice, not by necessity. And that made all the difference. Taemin graduated from the Diplomatic Academy at 18. He was the youngest graduate in its history. His thesis was on cooperation without hierarchy, new models for galactic relations. It became required reading across dozens of worlds. He was assigned to the frontier territories, where humans and aliens were building mixed communities. These places represented something new in the galaxy. Societies where no single species was in charge, where decisions were made by consensus, where everyone contributed according to their abilities. It was messy sometimes. Humans wanted to move fast. Some aliens preferred careful planning. There were disagreements, arguments, misunderstandings, but there was also friendship, innovation, growth. Ambassador HFY retired after 10 years of service. She had accomplished what she set out to do, secure humanity's place in the galaxy on their own terms. At her retirement ceremony, representatives from 40 different species attended. Even Councillor HFY came, his crystalline body bright with respect. "You changed everything," HFY said to her privately. "I hated you for it at first, but now I see that you saved us. We were dying slowly, becoming irrelevant. You forced us to evolve." HFY smiled. "I didn't force anything. I just said no. You did the hard work of changing." "A simple no," HFY mused. "Such a small word to reshape the galaxy." "Sometimes the smallest words carry the most weight," HFY replied. On the determination, Jinwoo prepared for his final mission before retirement. He had explored more systems than any other human captain, had made first contact with 12 new species, had seen wonders that most beings could only dream of. Soo-jin was taking command of the ship. She stood beside him on the bridge, looking at the stars. "Any advice?" she asked. Jin-woo thought about it. "Remember why we do this. Not for glory, not for power, but because there's so much to discover, so much to learn. Stay curious, stay humble, and never let anyone tell you that you need permission to explore. That's the human way," Soo-jin said. "No," Jinwoo corrected. "That's the way it should be for everyone." Years later, historians would debate exactly when the change happened. When did the council stop being rulers and become partners? When did the galaxy shift from hierarchy to cooperation? But those who were there knew. It happened the moment a 12-year-old boy stood in the council chamber and said, "We don't want anything from you." It happened when humans chose freedom over security. When they showed that survival didn't require submission. It happened when the kid tilted his head, smiling not wide, not nervous. Just enough. That smile became famous across the galaxy. Artists painted it. Poets wrote about it. Young beings from 100 different species practiced it in mirrors, trying to capture that perfect balance of confidence and humility, of strength and openness, of being exactly who you are, without apology and without arrogance. It was the smile of someone who knew their worth, who didn't need validation from others, who was happy to work with anyone, but would never work for anyone. It was the smile that changed everything.